This is a story about the fertile Central Valley of Chile. It is a tale of contrast, of the old life and the new. For many generations, the farm of Santa Rosa, with its vast fields and its herds of cattle, has been an important source of the wealth of the Tornaca family. But now, Don Francisco, the old owner, is dead, and the farm will become the property of one of his sons. Don Francisco is a kind and generous employer. An old family servant goes to the altar of the chapel and lights a candle in his memory. His sons and daughters are gathered in the drawing room of the rambling old country house to hear a lawyer read the will. The inheritance is divided. Roberto, the older son, is given the larger of his father's properties, a ranch or fundo known as San Miguel. But Don Francisco bequeaths Santa Rosa, the ancestral home, to his younger son, Juan. Acres sown in wheat is only a fraction of the fundo which Juan inherits from his father. To Juan go also the cattle and pastures which reach back into the foothills of the Andes. In primitive mud houses like these live hundreds of workers and their families. So many, in fact, that long ago the landlord erected a chapel for them. The house, more than 200 years old, is almost hidden behind vines. It is Juan who will take his father's place at the head of the great table. We'll go into the family Bible alongside the other owners of the Fundo Santa Rosa. The will stipulates Juan is to take good care of the household servants, for most of them were born and raised in the shadow of the old house and have faithfully served the family for many years. When the reading of the will is ended, Juan leaves for Santiago and his city home. Juan takes his responsibilities as administrator of the Fundo Santa Rosa lightly and pays for his pleasures in town with his income from the farm. He takes a pretty young friend to Santiago's Hotel Carrera for a swim in its rooftop pool. And while its youthful owner remains in Santiago and neglects the farm, life at Santa Rosa goes on in the old way. The flowers and shrubs in the family garden are kept beautiful for a young owner who seldom sees them. Spanish and Criolla dishes have made the Chilean table famous, but the servants in Juan's kitchen prepare meals day after day only for themselves. For Juan, like too many Chileans who have inherited agricultural riches, is an absentee landlord. Almost all of Chile's arable land is in single great land holdings, from 5,000 to 50,000 acres, in vivid contrast to the small farms of North America, where the owner and his family do most of the work. Most of the workers in Chile know no other way of life than this. They do not dream of any great advance for themselves, because for 200 years or more, they and their forefathers have lived on the same estate. They still plow with oxen and harvest the grain by hand on most of the fundos of Chile, because human labor is cheap and gasoline tractors are expensive. But Don Roberto, the older son, has not been contented with these antiquated methods. He represents an entirely new element in Chilean agriculture. He looks over some of the 15,000 acres which comprise his heritage, the Fundo San Miguel. He attended the State Agricultural College at Ames, Iowa, and he is determined to put into practice some of the methods of modern agriculture which he learned there. He explains his projects for improvements to his foreman. Within a few months, the first results of his modernization are seen. The traditional oxen used for plowing have been replaced by tractors. The saving in time and labor has enabled him to put an additional 1,000 acres under cultivation, fertile land never used before. But even though threshing machines replace horses, and Don Roberto doubles his crop of wheat, still Chile must import food from the outside to feed her people. The country simply does not raise sufficient food. Don Roberto also makes improvements in the irrigation system. There is no rain in Chile's Central Valley during 9 months of the year, and without irrigation, the fields would wither and die. But the Andes Mountains, which bound the farm on the east, are an unfailing source of abundant water. From the deep snows come tiny streams. Gathering force in their descent, they become swift rivers, rushing across the fertile valley. Stone fences divide and redivide these streams until their waters bring life to all the best land in the valley. Irrigation ditches follow the contours of the hills, gradually descending to the level of the valley floor. Gates control the flow of the water until it reaches the planted fields. An important innovation at San Miguel was the planting of hemp, which is widely used for making cording and rope. Don Roberto realized that hemp could become an important cash crop for Chile. A small plant has been established where the tough fibers are cleaned and the hemp prepared for shipment abroad. Don Roberto's fine herd of cattle is producing milk which is later dried in this modern plant and sold in powdered form throughout Chile. Veterinarians use modern scientific methods to protect and to improve the herd. Each pedigreed animal has its own production chart. One of Don Roberto's early reforms was to provide a hot meal for the workers. In a central kitchen, rich vegetable soup has been prepared and is carried to the workers in the field. Many of these men are descendants of Spanish invaders who took Indian women to be their wives. Though poor, they are proud of their heritage, for in their veins flows the blood of the Araucanians, the fierce tribe that the Spaniards never entirely conquered. Don Roberto, however, is interested in more serious reforms, for most agricultural workers in Chile live in unhealthy shacks, like this one. It is difficult for these people, who have struggled along for generations with little help, suddenly to realize that the lord of the manor is taking a personal interest in their living conditions. His offer to build a new house for this worker and his family meets with some skepticism. With an architect, Don Roberto examines the plans and then the model of the new house. 20 of them have already been built, but it will be some years before all his farm workers can be properly housed. Constructed largely with materials produced on the farm, these houses can be built cheaply and quickly. A few people in Chile dream of the day when all farm workers will have housing like this. On this Fundo, each worker receives a 2-acre tract of land. He gets a little time, morning and evening, to work in his own garden and thereby earn a little extra money. For in Chile, even on a progressive Fundo, wages are low and leave little money for shoes and clothing. Primarily, the garden is for their own table, and most of the land is sown in potatoes and beans, carrots and peas. The children of the Fundo come from many homes, new and old, and join their friends on the way to school. The Fundo extends over many square miles, so some pupils come by mule and on horseback. The Chilean law provides for compulsory education, but many landlords have ignored the law or provided a bare minimum. The girls wear white smocks for their school uniform, and the boys blue denim. As in most South American schools, lessons are recited aloud and in unison. In history class, a boy completes a drawing of the Chilean flag as the teacher explains the significance of the 18th of September, the Chilean national holiday. Free lunch is prepared for all the children. Today's dish is cazuela, a favorite Chilean stew or soup. Following the strict discipline of Chilean schools, the children march to the dining room. Most fundos do not have a doctor or a trained nurse, but San Miguel has a modern clinic where a doctor is in attendance twice a week and where farm mothers bring their babies for treatment. Working women may leave their children here during the day. A priest reads Mass at the Fundo Chapel each Sunday. And on special occasions, like this First Communion, services are held out of doors. Only a few years have elapsed since Don Roberto took charge of the Fundo San Miguel. His brother Juan, after long absence, has come to see the changes that have been made. Don Roberto points proudly to improvements in the irrigation system. His prize imported bulls are brought out for his brother's admiration. He demonstrates an improved variety of wheat. This contrast of old and new symbolizes the changes which are taking place in Chilean agriculture. Most large landholders are satisfied with antiquated farming methods and prefer to administer their farmlands in Santiago. But others like Don Roberto have caught the spirit of progress which characterizes modern Chile. To their employees, they are giving better working conditions, and to their country a sounder agricultural economy, so that Chile, in years to come, will be able to feed her own people and feed them well.